I'm extremely untrained in every way possible.
I don't believe that.
I'm like a rabid dog. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Inside Out Universe. I have a very special guest today. His name is Rouzbeh. He is a player from the Canadian beach volleyball team, and he is also a coach. So I'm very excited to have him on here. I haven't had too many guests with athletic backgrounds. So hi, Rouzbeh. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you and get to share a little bit about what it's like being a beach volleyball player and just about my life. So,
that's why you're here? I thought you were here to talk about politics.
Anything you want, whatever you want, we can talk about it.
I love that. I love when I ask people, like, before they come on, I'm like, hey, what are you comfortable talking about and what are you not comfortable talking about? And I love when they're like, oh, we can talk about whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want. I'm good. I'm open book.
I love that. So obviously, it's so crazy to me that I have someone here who's on the Team Canada beach volleyball team. Yeah. So obviously, we have to start with a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I've been representing Canada for the last 3 years internationally, and this past summer I've got selected for the summer development team, which is like 4 months of, provincial funding that we're getting from the government to train full time. And yeah, I've been playing volleyball since I was in 2015. I was 15 years old. I'm 25 now.
Oh, wow.
I've been playing indoor for a long time as well. I played both indoor and beach volleyball. I played in college. And yeah, now I just transitioned to play beach volleyball full time. I love it. It's my whole life, yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the beach aspect of it. Volleyball is pretty cool, but beach volleyball? Yeah. Tell me more.
Yeah, so it's 2-on-2 as opposed to 6-on-6.
Yeah.
Like indoor volleyball, it's a whole team. You have a head coach, you have an assistant coach, a whole roster of 20 guys. Beach volleyball the court is a little bit smaller and it's just 2 people. And there is no head coach, assistant coach. Like when you're playing, it's just you and your teammate against the other 2 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there isn't a huge team. Obviously in practices, we have the Team Canada staff and we have our integrated support staff, the physios, everything. But when you're actually playing the games, it's just you and your partner. And
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so the game is a little bit different. It's at a different pace. You're playing in the sun, 30 plus degrees, and the wind.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder than people think.
No, it sounds hard. Wait, so, first of all, there's a few things.
Yes.
Is it easier or harder that it's not a whole team playing against each other? I feel like it would be harder.
It's much harder. You get exposed a lot more. There's no hiding. In a team of 6, you have 5 other guys to rely on. You can come into the middle and, you guys, if you're not playing well, someone can kind of pick up the slack. In beach volleyball, there is no hiding. So you have to be good at everything. You have to be able to, do all of the skills, execute all the skills on a high level, international level, or else you're going to get exposed. And it's a bigger degree there's a higher need for mental resiliency because it's just 2 of you. Mm-hmm. So the interpersonal connection that you have with your teammate, it's like a relationship.
Yeah.
If we lose, we don't just lose, we lose thousands of dollars plus opportunities, plus we have to travel together. We stay in the same hotels together.
The pressure.
It's like a marriage, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
And at least in a marriage, I don't rely on my girlfriend or my wife to make ends meet.
Oh, really? You don't believe in 50-50?
We don't work together. Our business isn't tied together. She has her business, I have my business. Whereas in beach volleyball, it's if I have a bad day, it affects both of us, and we both lose money, we both lose opportunities. It's a lot more
Have
connected.
you ever had a bad day?
Oh, yeah.
And then your partner came on bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Really?
They the partners that I've had, luckily, have been super, we have really good communication, and I'm an open book. I like to address everything. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you can go through even a romantic relationship without addressing stuff that you feel okay, this was a little off. Even the little things, if I give you a high five and it's this limp high five, this, versus someone that's high five, and they give you a good high five. Those things matter. Your body language matters. Everything matters. So you address everything, and you don't address it in a way that's you're not going to respond. Mm-hmm. If I come to you and say, hey, what are you doing? Oh my God, maybe your personality is not the type of personality that responds well to that.
Yeah.
So we talk about that before, so that when we are in those tough situations, I know, okay, Donya needs like encouragement. She doesn't need someone to be on her. Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but like for me, I'm like aggressive. I'm more confrontational. So if
Yeah,
I'm
it's
playing
so
poorly,
cool that that's a part of it, though. You know what? Like, I actually have a good question for you that came to my mind because growing up, my dad was like very involved in like karate. He was like one of like the national champions of like karate in like Iran, and he also skied professionally.
Okay.
So I come from a very athletic family. Both of my brothers are also like very involved in sports. My oldest brother did like boxing and wrestling professionally.
Wow.
So like very like sports athletic
Combat sports,
oriented
it seems.
family. Yeah, anger issues
Yeah.
it seems. And I remember there was a lot of talk in our family, like mainly from my dad, about like sportsmanship. So you saying all this stuff actually brought out a very like interesting point to me that I'd like to ask you about, which is what does sportsmanship mean to you?
it's a good question. I think to me, it's about honoring everything that helped you get to that point. And, you know, honoring your family, honoring, like I also coach and I have a following of younger athletes that watch me and honoring them as well. My mom that has done everything for me, like it's about honoring your teammates, about honoring yourself. Like I think the word honor kind of comes to mind a lot for me. You know, like one day you might play amazing and you might feel like you're the best person in the world and you look down on other people. And then the next day you're on the bottom and you need a hand. And now you're like, you know, when I was at the top, I kind of treated people poorly. So to me, it's like, you know, volleyball is a small part of your life. Like sport is a small part of your life. This life will be over very, very quickly in a blink of an eye. And it's like, what are you going to leave when people think of Rouzbeh? Like, do they think that this guy made me feel good about myself? Like, or are they thinking, you know, this guy might have been great at volleyball, but who cares because he was a terrible human being? So to me, like, even when I coach, it's about honoring all of those people that helped you be in that position. And I never want to give a chance that, you know, a 13-year-old that was watching me comes to me after, hey, why did you put your head down and not high five your teammate? Or why did you do this? Or, you know, why did you not go for that ball? Like, I'm going to be the example for all the people that wore the Team Canada jersey before me and the people that are going to come after me. Like, that's kind of sportsmanship to me.
Yeah. I really like that answer, actually. I really
thank you.
like that you associate sportsmanship with honor. I think that every profession, to a certain extent, should have their own version of sportsmanship.
Absolutely.
I think that it's a concept that should carry on to, like, the other aspects of your life. Like, for example, as like lawyers, when we go into law school, like when it first starts, everybody's in such a competitive mindset that it's just, and everything is graded on a curve and everybody's trying to, they tell you, they're like, oh, the legal profession is small, like you got to fight for the number one spot, whatever. And you start off with that mentality. But then as you go on and as you find mentors and people that you actually respect and people whose careers you want to resemble and you want to like structure your life towards, you realize that it's also a lot about giving forward. And that's like our version of like sportsmanship, where it's like things that you learn that are not easily learned like through regular resources, you want to pass that on. If you get an internship to then later become a lawyer in a higher position, you then start accepting interns. You then start teaching people the things that were taught to you. And it's kind of this idea of like passing it forward and helping people. And when I got to a point where that was made a lot more clear to me, which normally happens as you go on in your profession, I started to like my career a lot more because I was like, wow, it's actually about like it's about like wisdom. And wisdom is not like knowledge, you know, knowledge you can get by reading a book, by whatever. Wisdom is something that comes with experience, years and years of experience. So these mentors in these positions to pass down wisdom, I was like, they're the real legends and the real goats.
Yeah, like the top, you know, 1% of any profession, like to get from like the 99th or the 98th percentile to the 99, it takes another like 90% of effort. And like, I try to think of it as like rearranging your compass. So if I can mentor somebody and tell them the right steps, you know, it kind of helps them have like a compass towards their goals. So for me, I have mentors as well. I have people that help me. I have coaches for my coaching, for my individual life. Without that, like I would not be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I'm the kind of person I always, no matter who, like my younger cousins, my friends, I'm always telling them, I'm like, mentors are so important. Mentors are so important. And I know that it's a cliche, but to me in my life, mentors have been very important. So I really like that you also feel that way. Tell me a little bit about your experience with your mentors, how they've impacted you, particular lessons they've taught you, anything.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I like starting from, when I was a kid, like my mom is a huge mentor to me. It's Father's Day today, but
Shout out, Mom.
yeah,
It's Father's Day.
I was raised alone by my mom since I was
Oh.
like 10 years old. So she was like my very first mentor, I think. Kind of just showing like how to work hard and be a good person and stuff. Like that's not just out of thin air.
That's so
Right,
beautiful.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day,
To my
Rouzbeh's
mom, yeah. Shout out all the single moms on Father's Day.
I love that.
But like in sport, I had even when very young Josh Binstock. He was an Olympian that also came from Richmond Hill, and he went to my high school. At 14, 15, he introduced me to visualization. He introduced me to, having goals bigger than yourself. And, even further, I had Ish was another one of my mentors, is like a small Caribbean black guy, lefty, could jump like 45 inches.
Oh, shit.
And he's like 50 years old.
Oh, that's wild.
And ripped. He taught me how to like actually become a professional and train like a champion before you're a champion. I have like even now guys in the national team, like Sam Schachter, he's the best player we have in Canada. I message him. He was like an idol to me. And now he's like, I see him every day at practice.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I can message him and stuff. So that's really cool. Also, I have like a professional mentor that's named Neil Mason. Shout out.
Shout out, Neil.
Yeah, he's been instrumental in the last, 3 or 4 months of my life to elevate just beyond being an athlete to being a entrepreneur and starting a coaching business, and how do you, market yourself and build a brand more than just being a player, because this won't last forever.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you have to have something outside of that and have an actual life.
Yeah.
You can roll around in the sand all day, but you're not going to make money like that forever.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that growing up with a single mother made it even more important for you to have good mentors?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I could go on with the mentors. Like, I know I probably forget some people, but like my mom did a great job of putting, positive male role models in my life. Another huge one was Jad. His name is Chad with a J on YouTube. He has like 2 million subscribers now.
Oh, that's dope.
He's one of the very first guys that kind of when I was 14, 15, everybody wants to be negative now. I don't know. Like, especially the younger generations, it's cool to be like, I hate this. And
or
this
I
sucks.
don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. Who cares? Like, but I saw a young man that was like positive, and he made it cool to be positive and vulnerable. And, there's not a lot of situations in my life that I was rewarded for being vulnerable or, being like positive. And he showed that like, hey, we don't talk like that. It wasn't like an emotional, hey, what are you doing? Oh, like try to reprimand you. Is like, you don't have to be like that.
It's just like, what is the benefit of being that way?
Yeah, like, hey, you don't have to do this. We don't talk like that here.
Yeah.
Simple. Like no emotion to it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And that's how I do it now with my kids. I'm like, listen, that's not how we talk here.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, I have never met Rouzbeh before. I love guests like that because it's like you guys are getting the true, authentic, like inside out experience.
Yeah.
And it's one thing for me to reach out to people and ask them to be on my podcast, because a lot of times when I do that, I have a hard time because obviously the premise of my podcast is being vulnerable and chasing people down to, in a way, chasing them down to have them come on and be vulnerable is not as fun as having people reach out to you who actually want to be vulnerable. I really respect that. And in a way, like that to me is such an act of, it's funny because people associate vulnerability with being a weakness, but I associate vulnerability with being the biggest strength, especially coming from a man.
Right.
So the fact that you reached out to me and you were like, hey, ask me anything. I want to come on your podcast. Let's talk about whatever. I just want to let you know that means a lot to me and that I respect you a lot for that.
Thank you.
So I love
That's
that.
Sweet, yeah.
And also, I wanted to say, for somebody I haven't met before, I'm really starting to like you.
Yeah,
I can
nice.
tell that
I'm
you're a
glad.
very like principled person.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me will tell you that like my whole life, I've pretty much put myself together in a way that would make me proud. And I run on like a system of principles that I've crafted and for myself. So I really, really love people who operate on like principles and morals.
Yeah.
Tell me, I'm curious, because now I'm just nosy.
Yeah,
Now it's
no,
not
tell
about the
me.
audience.
Go ahead,
Now it's
yeah.
just about me. Tell me some of like your top like principles that you live your life by.
That's a really good question. I think, like, right off the top of my head, I think that nothing is permanent. Like, knowing that the only need, people use the word need a lot.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing of mine, is like, you don't need anything. The only need, guarantee, is death. And I know that sounds like dark, and
Yeah, no, I
we're
feel
like,
you.
oh my God, what are you talking about? Like, but like, it is true that only need is you're gonna need to die one day. That's guaranteed. But everything else is up to you. That's like that's like one of the top principles of mine. Is like, I used to, especially when I was like 16, 17, I would say, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it was things I didn't want to do, things that I wasn't going to do. And I would just set like these needs. I need my phone, I need to do this. And then I realized that, and I did it through mentorship again and doing a course called Landmark Forum, where I realized that the only need is this life will end. And how do you want to be remembered? And what do you want to do up until then? You want to be a construction worker for the rest of your life? Fine, that's cool. You want to be homeless and just live on the street? Whatever, it's your life, right? So putting this need of telling yourself you need to do something that you don't really want to do, that you're not going to do, it diminishes your word, diminishes the value of your word. And I go, okay, I need to do this by this time, and I don't do it. And it's like this little L. And you continuously build up those little L's until you're not proud of yourself anymore, or like you're saying, like it diminishes your self-image, or you know who you are. So that's a big principle of mine, is, you know, this is an impermanent life. Like, I live for today. If I die tomorrow, I want to be happy that like I settled everything. People are not upset showing up like, oh, Rouzbeh owed me money, or, you know, he was wrong. He did stuff that was wrong. You know, and he hurt me. Like, I'm good to go right now at the moment of this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, if I die right now, I'm happy of how I left everything. So,
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. I love people who have like their own like moral codes and stuff like that, because I'm very much like that too. And like one of my biggest like things, and you asked me before this podcast, and honestly, like it's a very long-winded answer, so I kind of just gave you like a brief synopsis. You asked me why I started this podcast. For me, one of like my guiding like top principles in life, and it wasn't always like this, I had to work my way up to it, is the importance of showing up as yourself. And I don't say that loosely, I don't say that lightly. I think it's like it should be every person's number one mission and priority to show up as exactly who you are. And that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, if you're lazy, just be lazy. Or if you're a bad person, just be a bad person. Show up as who you are. It's a matter of you have to work to get in touch with your essence, find out what your essence is, to a point where, and I know this is so weird to say, but I had this conversation with a lot of my friends at many, many different dark points in all of our lives, which is you have to get to a point where when your soul talks to you, you can hear it. Because there's a lot of things in our system that talks to us. We have thoughts, we have feelings, we have all of these things, and you have to really sit there and get very close to your essence and to God to be able to decipher what is the sound of your soul.
Right.
And when you get to that point when you can finally hear it, then it becomes your mission to bring that out. Everything in your life, you kind of have to align to that and show up as yourself every single day, because it doesn't matter who you are, people need you. You're a part of the puzzle. So that's, I like that you have a solid.
Yeah, I think like that comes especially with age, but like experience changes how you see the world. And it's hard to know who you are without, you know, experiencing things to tell you who you're not. And like a big part of me being this comfortable at 25 is I've went through a lot of stuff, and you know, you're either compelled to change when you have enough information provided to you, and that's when we hope, like as coaches, we hope that I provide the information, enough information that it compels you to change, or it's like there's so much traumatic stuff that happens to you through your life that you realize how you've been or the way that you are being is no longer serving you. And then you try to find, kind of other ways to be organically yourself. So,
I'm that one.
Yeah.
I'm the second one. Nobody ever telling me anything has ever worked.
It's hard.
Until like the Farsi saying of like sarish basang bokhore. That's me. I thrive at rock bottom.
Yeah, you have to learn through
and like
experience.
I know that's like such a weird thing to say, and I've had to get to points in my life where I was like, okay, like I know we do well in rock bottom, but we can't live there. So let's but I'm so like it's like the idea of having my back against the wall is exhilarating to me. I love it. Makes sense. One of my friends is like, I know this is a really bad thing to say, but he's like, when you've gone through like some of your worst breakups, I've seen like the dopest version of you. I'm like, what are you trying to say? That I should break up? Like what's But that's really like it's something. I think that like the beauty of life is that everything comes to a balance, and every good thing brings about a bad thing that you have to also consider and take into account, and every bad thing brings about a good thing. And to me that is how there is a God. So like the idea of being at rock bottom brings out a side of you, or like I'm sure like growing up with a single mother, I'm sure you didn't have the easiest life, and you've been through a lot of hard things.
Oh yeah.
But now when you compare yourself to your peers, honestly,
do
you not have that little inside voice that's like, okay, it was pretty shit, but I'm so like I'm built different now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I think it makes sense. It makes sense that you feel best at rock bottom, like best, quote unquote. Because you can eat shit and you won't go lower. Like, that there's only up.
There's only up.
It's like, you can't get worse than that. So it's like, and that's why with younger people and like, dude, you can do anything. You're broke anyways. Like, you're already broke. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
What was the other question?
I love this. You're already broke.
Yeah.
How much more
like,
broke?
You can't get worse. You're at rock bottom. You live in your mom's house. You don't have anyone that relies on you. Like, you don't have bills that are like your kids and things that people actually rely on you. So you could do anything. You have only up to go. So it makes sense. Sure. Yeah.
And even people who are scared of failure, it's like, I know it's like a really like cliche almost thing to say, but it's so true. And sometimes like the simplest sayings are like the deepest and most true sayings. And like the idea that like, the worry that you will fail, or the concern that you will fail, or that I'm scared to fail, or that what if I try and fail? You either try and there's a chance that you'll fail, or you don't try and you're 100% going to fail.
Right.
Because if you don't try, then that's just a guarantee that you're going to fail. There's no way that you wouldn't. Yeah. So it's like you either take that risk and there's a chance you won't fail, or just don't take that risk and you're guaranteed to fail. So I think it's not, when people tell me, oh, it's like I'm scared to fail, I don't think it's so much about being scared to fail. I think it's about being scared to leave your comfort zone.
Right.
Because if you don't leave your comfort zone, you're already failing.
Scared to try. And like to your question before was with my peers, I feel like I'm unbreakable. Like in my mind, there is nothing worse than what I've already went through in life. And like life is the toughest teacher because, it kind of gives you the test first and the lesson after. So I've already done all the tests. Like, I'm playing volleyball. I'm running around in a little box getting the ball up. Like, who cares? It's not that serious compared to the stuff that I've seen or the things that I know my family is going through, either extended family or direct family. Like, I'm unbreakable. And the other thing is, like, everything is a win.
Yeah.
So, who's to say that you're failing if you went through it and didn't get an outcome? Because if you have that attitude that everything is a win, I study winners, and that's what makes them winners. It's not the fact that they have an outcome that's successful every time. It's the fact that despite winning or losing, it's a win. Yeah. I won. Okay, well, that's a win. Well, I lost. Well, it's a win anyways because I'm going to take away, and I don't need pre-workout for the next 2 months. I'm going to think about this loss.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn from it, and I'm motivated. And so, like, getting out of your comfort zone is always a win, and if you have that attitude, you can't fail. Everything is just a win. So you're just building off wins.
Yeah, for sure.
All the time.
And also the idea, I think this is also very important, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I think that you are equipped to answer these kinds of questions. I think redefining what you consider a win is also important, because if you consider results only when you're considering whether or not something is a win, then it's like everything is dependent on the results. And sometimes you can't, no matter how hard you try, you can't control the results. So I think for me, like, my life really started to become a lot more liberating and a lot like happier when I started defining wins as me just trying my best. You know what I mean? And because I know myself and I don't lie to myself, and because, you know, what I said earlier of like, I know what my soul sounds like, I know when I've truly tried my best and when I'm trying to trick myself. And as long as I've truly tried my best, that's a win for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're talking about is like called reframing. So it's an activity that we do for our mental performance, is reframing things into other things. So, you know, maybe you traveled 18 hours across the world to go to Australia, you play one match and you lose, you're out of the tournament. You just spent $3,000 to go there, and you're like sad and depressed, but you think about reframing this into a positive thing. Like, well, I got to travel and see the world. I got to experience the highest of highs and human emotions and the lowest of lows. You know, I still am progressing towards my goals. So it's really important that you're able to reframe, especially in sport, because people see the success. They see like the wins, and you get the girl and you pop the champagne and like all that shit. But they don't see like all the other things that are like you're just pushing through with internal motivation. And if you don't reframe those losses and you think of them as losses, they're going to weigh heavy on you. And then the other thing that goes into what you said is like process goals versus outcome goals. You know, I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I got that from my mom. Like, if you don't have goals, it's a pretty fast indicator, like filter for me if we're going to get along. Because I'm super goal-oriented, and my goals aren't necessarily outcome-oriented. They're not like, you know, obviously one of my goals is to be in the Olympics, but that's a process goal. There's so many more outcome goals that I have. Process goals that I have that are more important to me than just the outcome of going to the Olympics. So
yeah, I think that's very important.
It's important to have both, because then you're always going to be disappointed.
Yeah, for sure. Because sometimes you just can't control it. And like, okay, I have a question for you. Okay, this is actually interesting. I've been waiting to ask someone this question, and it just so happens to be someone that could potentially have a controversial opinion about this. What is your opinion about luck? What do you think? Do you think luck exists? Do you think people could be lucky? What do you think?
So they actually did a study on this.
Oh shit, this guy came with stats.
I have the...
He's like, he pops his briefcase.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have it all on my phone. No, they did a study on this, and it's funny that you mentioned this. I was looking at this a couple days ago. They did a study on people that viewed themselves as lucky versus people that viewed themselves as unlucky. Unfortunate, everything always goes against me. Oh my God, my life is so hard. And they gave both groups a newspaper, and they asked them to count how many pages were in the newspaper. Okay, and on the second page, there's a headline says there's 28 articles in this newspaper. The lucky group opens it, they look into the second page, they go, oh, there's 28. They close it, and they said there's 28. And then the unlucky group is so focused on counting all of them, they miss it most of the time, and they keep counting, and a lot of them are wrong in how many articles are on there. So luck to me is two things. Is there is statistical anomaly, which is like you're statistically due for bad reps or days, or like days where you're just making bad plays. Statistically due. Also statistically due to get some lucky plays, like where, you know, it just hits the tape of the net. I don't know how much you know about volleyball, but it hits the net and it just like rolls over and lands.
Yeah.
Little things like that, or like the referees giving you a point, that's luck. But like for the most part, I think, you know, if you view yourself as someone that's unlucky all the time, you're missing opportunities that are right in front of your face. Yeah.
I think I would put the emphasis on the missing. I don't think that... I'm also a spiritual person, so I do think there's a spiritual aspect to it too. But I'm going to leave that out for now, just on the basis of luck and like you talking about it, about like being a statistical anomaly. I think that the difference between people who are lucky and quote unquote unlucky, or consider themselves to be either way, is that people who consider themselves to be unlucky, in my experience, because I've been around a few, they just miss the opportunities because they've convinced themselves that because they're unlucky, they're not deserving, that it's not going to happen for them. So then they miss it. Even when it's right in front of them, because they don't believe that it's possible, they won't see it.
Right.
But people who can, I'll be honest, I don't know if this sounds narcissistic as fuck. I think I'm a very lucky person.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a lot of bad shit happen to me in my life, but I've always, knock on wood, I've always got away by like the skin of my teeth. You know what I mean? So, and I always tell my mom this. I'm like, what is this? And whatever. My mom's always like, oh, we have this angel that's on our arm. I'm like, whatever. You know, Persian moms are always trying to make it about some angels.
Someone is looking out for you.
Yeah.
Above. Yeah.
But yes, but it's because I've always considered myself to be a lucky person. So like I spot things when they happen. Like I'm always on the hunt for something good is gonna happen to me today.
Right.
You know, so then when I go and like friggin' do anything and something good comes out of it, I'm like, see, this is what I was talking about. I knew something good was gonna happen today. And a funny example of that is this. I went to a psychic not too long ago, okay? And generally I consider myself to be a lucky person, but I wasn't going through one of my luckiest streaks, if you will. I was kind of down and out a little bit. And this psychic told me, and again, I'm not at all like, I don't know if they are real. I don't know if they're not real. I don't know. But I just thought it was fun. I was downtown. I was like, I want to go.
Okay.
So I went, and this psychic told me, she was like, on June 10th, you're going to have 3 back-to-back lucky days. Okay?
Is this a woman in like an alleyway? Is she like, what was like?
I'm pretty sure she did crack.
Okay. Unlocks a different
there
dimension.
Was crack on her shelf in her house, so that doesn't really say much. But yeah,
she had a house.
It was like a walkway. You walked up from like the street and you went right into her house, which smelled like crack. But I'm a very open-minded person. I was like, you know what? Like, I was like, people like this live unconventional lives.
Right.
Maybe this is her unconventional life. I don't judge. It's all good.
She uses it to connect with
I've encountered my fair share of crack in various ways, you know? So it's like, I don't judge. So I went, I was like, all right. I sit down and I don't know if crack is a disqualifier of whether or not you can be a psychic, you know?
Yeah. No, that's okay. I think it probably helps, if anything. Gets you closer to death, which is like...
Shout out to the crack.
Right on the edge.
So then I go upstairs and she's like, on June 10th, you're going to have 3 back-to-back lucky days, okay? And because, if I'm being honest, now that's like, it's past, they were average days. They were regular days. But because I was expecting them to be lucky, I went into the gas station, got a scratch ticket, won $25. I was like,
oh, no
fuck
way.
yeah. But I've done that a million times. You know what I mean? But that day I was like, this is what she was talking about. You know what I mean? Like, so stuff like that's because my brain was looking for it.
Absolutely.
I did have 3 back-to-back lucky days.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a saying that says opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor.
Oh shit.
Which is kind of like saying that if you're doing and you're always constantly doing stuff, then opportunity will find you. But if you're sitting at home expecting, you know, a contract to come and you want to play pro and you're just sitting at home waiting, it's not really going to work. And like to your point with the lady is like she changed your perspective. So for those 3 days, you're walking around with a different lens of the world. So you're seeing the world through a different lens. And it's like, why not every day? Why can't you do that every day? You know, like you could theoretically, that could be you every day is just walking around. Hey, I see the world through this lens of I'm fortunate to be alive. I'm, you know, grateful. And like, I'm a lucky person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My brain is so funny. Sometimes the other day, I have this thing where like I say, I know this is going to sound so random, but I think it's time.
Okay.
I think you've known me long enough for me to
22
be
minutes,
myself. So we're standing outside of my house the other day and I was talking to my best friend and I go, because I'm doing a lot of different like I'm taking on a lot of different business endeavors right now at this point in my life and I don't talk about them. And I'm the type of person that waits for them to happen before I talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I looked at my friend and I was like, I smell money.
Hey.
And he looks at me and he goes, really? That's funny. I smell barbecue. And it's funny because my neighbor was barbecuing and I was like, bro, you're so dumb.
Yeah,
like,
he missed it. It just went straight over his head.
He goes, really? I smell barbecue.
Yeah. Get new friends. No, I'm kidding.
No, you need those friends that are...
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your friends.
That's
Do you value... Like, what's your definition of a good friend? How have your friends been in your life?
I think I have 5 friends.
Okay, that's a good number.
5 people that I trust, that actually know me, that I am authentically myself 24/7. And you don't need more than that. And these people are like kind of family. I like friends is like, you know, I'm friendly with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And very few actually know me, know what I've been through, know my life, my mom. Like, if you know my mom, you're my friend, is how I kind of see it.
Oh, I love that.
Like, you know my family, you've met my mom, you've introduced yourself, then you could be a friend. And then there's like stages or tiers to it. But like, you know, I have 5 friends that are like my closest friends that I'll actually spend time out of the day to do stuff, because I train twice a day, plus lifts, plus conditioning, plus recovery, plus coaching, plus seeing my girlfriend. Like, you know, so I'm not spending time going to meet with people that aren't providing value to me or in some way grounding me. So without that, like without my community of people, like I feel like I start to lose myself in the ego and stuff like that a little bit. So these people keep me grounded. That's like what a friend is kind of to me. If someone hasn't met your family, they're not your friend.
Yeah, I agree.
They're your acquaintance.
I agree with that to a certain extent. My friends are very much my family. I love me a good old friend. All of my friends I've been friends with for like 13 plus years.
Yeah.
So like I say friend, but they're like family.
Exactly.
You know? So I think that's very important. I want to ask you a little bit about your mom. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Tell me a little bit about her. She sounds dope.
She is. I got her tattooed right here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she has raised me alone basically since I was 10. My dad was in and out of my life. He wasn't the greatest guy. And so she, after 10 years old, I decided that like I kind of wanted to cut contact with him. And she's supported me like through everything. You know, she's my biggest supporter and my biggest hater all at once.
Oh, I love that. Those are the best ones.
And she's a very strong woman, like coming from Iran. You know, I don't know how many people know, but like it's a regime that does not support women. Women don't have rights. It's not like North America where they go, oh, I don't have like equality, this and that. And it's like they actually aren't allowed.
Yeah. They're not considered humans.
Yes.
Like,
You're belonging of your husband.
Yeah.
And even if your husband dies, the kid goes to the husband's family. Like,
you can't leave the country without your husband's permission.
Exactly.
You can't do anything without your husband's permission. You think if your husband beats you and you call the cops, they're going to come and take your husband away, you're mistaken. They're going to tag team you. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, so like coming from a society like that, with her personality, she's like very fiery. She's not going to hold back what she thinks. She's
I love that.
Not going to, I know.
I wish my mom was like that. I love that.
And she's like one to speak out for injustice. She's like super like empathetic, almost too much, to the point where she just trusts anyone, you know, what they say based off what they say. And they'll be like, oh, I need to feed my family. She's like, okay, have everything. Like, take it all. Like,
I love that.
So, but yeah, she's been a pivotal part of like becoming who I am. And, you know, she's a type of person that she has a wide range, I would say.
Okay.
You know, there is times where, and this is for a lot of people that have like immigrant parents, there's levels of consciousness that they start to get at when they're like older, and they start to understand, okay, these things that happened to me weren't correct. They shouldn't have happened to me. What resulted of that? You know, I start to act a certain way. You know, being a woman that's raising a kid on her own in another country, like you develop certain habits or certain ways of being that after a certain point don't serve you anymore, right? And you want to be in a relationship and you're like, you know, you're still on fight or flight mode all the time. So like she has the level of understanding there, but then there's like a level of ignorance that like a high level of stress will induce you back to your basic level of training, right?
Yeah.
I always go back to training.
That's so interesting because I'm completely following what you're saying. I'm such a like rational thinker like that
so
too.
it'll like revert you back to your original state of being, and you think that like you've done all this personal development. Okay, cool. When someone comes in your face and starts yelling at you and cussing you out and stuff, that's when you see if it's actually paid off. So she's working to, you know, be more conscious and, you know, understand and accept what happened to her to make her the character that is, you know, Zahra, which is her name. But also there's the other side of like, there's some things that you cannot let go of because they've served you so much throughout your life that you feel like without it, you're a different person.
You're not even you.
You're not even you.
Oh my God, that's so funny that you say this today. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, since this is Inside Out, I owe my audience of my guests that much. The people that are closest to me know this. I struggle really, really bad with like anger problems. And I had a very, very high stress childhood.
Okay.
And like, you know, like very abusive, like worse than anything like anyone could imagine. And I feel like when you go through something like that and you become depressed as a result, people have a lot more empathy for you. When you become broken or anxious, they have a lot more empathy for you because they're like, okay, abuse, whatever. But when your abuse or your trauma results in anger issues, people don't have as much empathy for you. Because anger is not a primary emotion, it's a secondary emotion. Normally underneath it is sadness and whatever and this and that. But it's an emotion that, unlike sadness or, you know, like being depressed or whatever, that affects the people around you. And I think that that's why people are a little bit less tolerant or understanding or empathetic of it. But that was something that was always very, very painful to me in my life because, and I swear, I know this sounds like a funny thing to say, but I know on the inside I'm a very sweet person. I'm so sensitive to people's pains. I'm so sensitive to people's emotions, which is what makes me good at doing this, is because I'm very good at grasping people's like emotions. But I do get angry, and I have certain triggers and things that'll make me angry. And I feel like it's so funny that it just so happened that my guest today is talking about, like, you know, when you get stressed, you revert to your, you know, like to your pre-training state.
Your base level, yeah.
And I hate that. And that's something that I'm really struggling with, to be honest, because like I've calmed down a lot and I found ways of like staying level-headed and whatever, but it's like, it's so hard for me, and I don't know if you have anything to say about this, or maybe this is something that's too specific to me, but it's different. When you are conscious and you start to make a bad decision, say the wrong thing, or, you know, even get a little bit outside of yourself, you can ground yourself again. But when you have the type of anger issues that I do, where it's not like just like I'm angry, it's like it's trauma on top of trauma that triggers one thing, that triggers another thing, and now I don't even know why I'm mad, and whoever's standing in front of me is the enemy, and I just want everybody to get away from me. It's like I'm not myself. I don't know how to ground myself back to being who I am supposed to be. But I think one thing that I'm starting to learn is that maybe the best way, and this is going to sound so ridiculous, I learned this from training my dog, because my dog also had anger issues. And I remember I took him to training, and his trainer was like, listen, sometimes, like, you know, like, because my dog was also like a rescue dog, had been in many, many dog fights and stuff like that. She was like, so sometimes like the trauma is too deep and they've already been programmed that way. So what you have to do is to just try to manage it. So try to not to put him in situations like that where he's going to get triggered. Try to always keep him focused on things that are not going to trigger him. So now I think the conclusion that I've come to, and again, you can tell me what you think about this, is just to try to keep myself out of situations and conversations and around people that will that bring that out of me. Sometimes I can't help it, so I'm still trying. Like, obviously you can't control who's around you. You go into work and you work with a bunch of dickheads, you know? So I'm still working on it, but for the time being, I think it's just a matter of managing it.
Yeah, like I went to therapy a lot for anger management. You know, I was abused mentally, physically, like, and I'm sorry to hear that happened to you as well. Like, a large part of what helps me, so we talked about anchoring, which is like, I think your breath anchors you to your present moment. And like, if someone can't take your breath from you, that is the thing that anchors me. So,
like breathing?
Deep inhale through your nose, deep exhale through your mouth. Like, it sounds cliche, but like 10 times. And breathe and control your heart rate and have control of something. So that's like the first thing that I would build. Is
this when you feel yourself getting angry?
Yeah. Sorry.
But it happens so quickly.
It happens fast. So then the other thing is like recognizing the people that take from you. When you're around them, you feel drained. It doesn't matter how good of a day you had, they're always draining you. And the people that are giving, because there's givers and takers in this world, that's it. There is no neutral, in my opinion. So surrounding yourself with other givers, because I'm a giver. I give, everybody takes. And then eventually you give to a giver, And that relationship is like,
Yeah,
they
I
give you
know.
back 10 times.
And you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And then the last thing I would say is like recognizing your triggers, your inputs. Like the thing that's different between us and dogs is like we are higher level thinking beings. So a lot of the things that I had to work through in therapy or, you know, through the Landmark Forum is like, you know, what separates us from machines? Like a machine has a programming, input A gives output A. So I had things with my family where someone would say a mom joke or a dad joke when I was a kid, I would pop off right away. It was instantly a fight, not even talking, just straight to fighting. Like, and there was no time for deep breaths. There was no time for any of that stuff. It just instantly went there. So then I had to realize, okay, why is it that when they make comments about my dad or my mom that I feel like this outcome comes about, right? And then I realized that I'm a slave to everybody because you control me. You make some comment about my mom, you control me. Yeah.
I hate that.
And then knowing that like you don't want to be a slave to others and that other people don't control you and you can set all the excuses you want for yourself and say, oh, well, my mom said this. That's why I reacted like that. I have so many kids that do this. Like, oh, my mom did this for me and that's why I did this. And my dad is like this and this is why I like, no, you did it because you did it. Let's not make this overcomplicated, right? When you have a chance, you think about it consciously that this input is generating this output and you change the output. So an actionable thing that you can do rather than people just saying, oh, don't be angry. Like they don't understand that level of anger.
Yeah, they don't get it. It's just a matter of like, to them being angry is just like, oh, like you're in a state where you're unreasonable, hard to talk to, whatever. It's like, no, I'm
no
not
shit.
myself. Like I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm on another planet and my only mission is to destroy you.
And
like,
so there's things that have happened to you, like, and not just you, everybody. There's 3 things that happen at our lives that kind of develop these strong suits. So like these strong characteristics. So let's say for me, I get slapped by my dad and he makes me feel powerless. So now I develop a certain persona that I don't want to feel powerless again. So to compensate for that, I develop a persona of I'm going to be the one to strike first. I'm going to be, so now anytime that there's a relationship that I'm kind of like uneasy about, I'm going to be the one to aggress onto them first because I don't want them to do that to me. Until I noticed that and I realized that through therapy and through talking to somebody, like then I'm able to say, okay, you know, I'm rewiring this programming that has been put in my head. It's not my choice. I was an 8-year-old that got slapped by his dad. So he decided anyone that I think could potentially harm me, I'm going to harm them first. Things like that. There's lots of things that you can sit down and think about, like things that have happened to me through my life that developed these strong characteristics to protect me. And now at this part of your life, you know, like you're a businesswoman, you're a lawyer, you have a relationship, like they might not serve you in those ways. So learning to reroute them and like, okay, this input comes in, I'm going to train myself to give a different output. So I wouldn't completely like devoid yourself of like stress. I would do it in controlled ways that you know, like, okay, I'm purposely today going out in a very crowded place that I don't like to be in. And I'm going to purposely put myself in certain situations so that I could practice the habits that I worked on for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever.
No, you're 100% right, because at the end of the day, if my solution to my anger issues is to isolate myself, then the issue is not really gone.
Yeah.
But more so what I was referring to is the idea of while I master this skill and I have gotten a lot better at it, while I do that, I try to be very picky about the people that I surround myself with. I try to surround myself with people who understand me and know that that's not who I am.
Yes.
Like my best friend, I'm going to start crying when I say this.
Oh.
My best friend is my best friend, and I've always told him this because no matter what state I've been in, he sees like the best in me. And because of that, he grounds me. If I'm around people who, when I get angry, they're like, oh my God, like she's a monster. Now I'm like, because my anger is never coming from a place of actually being angry or wanting to hurt anyone. It comes from a place of hurt.
Yes.
So then when that does come out, because I'm hurt and the response that I get is, oh my God, she's a monster. Now I'm more hurt, which makes me more angry, because my anger is just a method. And I've noticed this because of like the reflection that I've been doing that you're talking about. I've noticed that my anger comes out not to hurt people, but to get them to stay away from me. You know, because when I sense fear and when I feel like I can't trust someone or that they're here in some way to hurt me, even if it's unintentionally, I'm not trying to be angry to hurt you. I'm trying to be angry to tell you to stay away from me. And in those moments, like, for example, my best friend, like, the way he treats me and the way he talks to me in those moments and outside of those moments is he's like, I know that's not who you are. You know what I mean? He's like, so when you get angry, I'm like, okay, like, she's angry right now. Like 30 seconds from now, she's going to come back to herself. Like, it's, you know, and I know that this is an unrealistic, like, you can't expect everyone to be this way. People don't owe it to you. Even if you've been hurt in your childhood or whatever, nobody owes you shit.
Exactly.
Nobody owes you understanding. Nobody owes you empathy, because at the end of the day, your traumas ricochet off of somebody else's traumas and they have a traumatic response. That's life, you know? But the people who are gracious enough and who love you enough to do that for you are the people who help you find yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people that are like, it's okay. Like, like one thing, like my best friend always says, he's like, I just want you to know, I don't take it personally.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when he says that, it literally makes me completely relaxed. Where like the anger automatically goes away. That like I'm grounded. He's like, I don't take any of this personally. It's okay.
Yeah, like not giving you the fight that you're looking for, kind of.
Yeah. And then I feel guilty too, and the guilty makes me more hurt than it. It's just a lot of fucking emotions, man.
But it's good that like you have somebody like that, and you know those are strategies that you can give to your other friends. And like, yes, it isn't realistic to expect the world to conform to you, but to a certain degree, like, you know, you control your world around you. Like people that take from you, just don't surround yourself with them. And like for me, I had to really, really limit the amount of people I was like associating myself with to control my anger first, and then
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And also to anybody out there watching that can relate to what we're talking about, one piece of unwarranted advice that I will give you guys is when you are a person who has anger issues or gets angry quickly, aside from every emotional and spiritual or mental health thing that we're talking about right now, you also make yourself very susceptible and vulnerable to being manipulated and taken advantage of, which is the opposite of what people would think. People would think, oh, if you're an angry person, people are going to be scared of you and whatever. I noticed that when I was in that like really angry phase, the people who were not good people and that did not have good intentions for me used this in a way to paint me out to be the bad guy so that they could get what they want in any given situation. So if it was a matter of they wanted something and somebody stood up for me, it was like, no, you don't understand. Like, she's like this and she's like that and whatever. And because I would get angry, lose control, and reinforce this idea, I was always becoming the bad guy in every narrative. So my advice to people while you're working on it, same thing that we're talking about, is be very selective about who you surround yourself with. Make sure the people that you're surrounded by are people that do not want to trigger you, are people that understand you and have empathy and compassion for you, and stay away from people that want to take advantage of this hurt and this anger that you have to further their own agenda. So be very picky about the people you surround yourself with, and just keep doing the work that Rouzbeh was talking about, because it helped me.
No, this stuff is like huge. I could talk about this all day. Like I've changed anger to aggression, right? Like I need aggression, you know, decisiveness and like fast acting. Like, you know, anger is something that I can't afford to have anymore, especially as like a brown, you know, like we're Persian, Middle Eastern, like the same anger that I'll have and I'll react a certain way if a white guy does it, it's fine, right? Like he's not angry, he's just upset. Like it's just a little like upset. But when I do it, it's like, oh, whoa, watch out, this guy is a certain way. So, you know, like realizing that really helped me change anger to aggressiveness. And if you watch me play, like I am not this calm. I am fiery. I don't force it. It's just who I am. But I learned to change it from anger to aggression.
Time and place is also very important. Yeah, for sure. I think I've been wanting to take up Muay Thai. Because I think that if I have an outlet where it's acceptable for me to be aggressive or to bring that energy out, and then I can do also the grounding exercises that you were talking about, and I could still know that, listen, once or twice a week we get to go here and like lose our shit and whatever. So if I have a healthy output for it, then I think that might help me. I know it sounds so funny, but it's really, really something that I've struggled with a lot in my life, and that has like isolated me in many ways from a lot of people in my life. Luckily, I don't get like that in my profession.
Nice.
For some reason, it's intimate relationships that trigger that for me. So be it like friends, even like friendly acquaintances, like social stuff. But when I know I'm in a professional environment, I'm not like that at all, because like I don't know why. Like it's people's brains are so fascinating. It's like my brain is scared because of the memories that I hold about intimate relationships, most of them stemming from my dad. So like when it's like a friend or a boyfriend or a social thing, that gets me.
Makes sense.
But like if someone pisses me off at the office, I'm just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, doesn't matter. And then like there's a balance between having standards. Like people try to tell you that like, you know, you having standards and being like, hey, I'm not okay with this, is you being angry. And they're trying to twist that into, hey, you're angry. It's like, no, I'm not angry. It's just, this is not enough. It's not good enough. It's just not going to happen for my life. And then being emotionless when you say it is something that I've learned, especially in coaching. Like, you can't be like, what's a 14, 15-year-old girl like, oh, why are you doing like this? Like, and freak out. Like, hey, this is not good enough. It doesn't have to be emotional. It doesn't have to be angry. It's just not good enough. And it's the truth. And like my friends and my coaches and everybody knows, I would rather the truth that hurts than you try to like protect my feelings.
Yeah, because you can always get better. And as a coach, you help them get better. So it's okay if you're not good enough. Yeah. It is what it is. We'll help you get better.
Absolutely. And just tell me straight up.
What was I going to say? I want to ask you a little bit about your coaching, but before we move on to that, I thought about something because I asked you the question about your friends. You told me a little bit about your friends, but like kind of like how you told me about your number one principle that guides you. What is the number one thing that you would recommend people look for in friends?
It's a good question. I mean, for me, like being athletic is a big thing for me. Like if they don't have some sort of athletic endeavors or goals, like goals is another big one. If they don't have any goals in their life or they don't have like anything that they're working towards, like, you know, what are we doing? What are you doing with your life? You know? And a big one for me is also like, how do they react to you being your authentic self? Like you said, like showing up your authentic self, like, how comfortable do you really feel around them to just say it how you want to say it, not really have to like think too much about filtering or, you know, like my friends know like you're not going to hurt my feelings. Like very, like no one can hurt my feelings other than my mom. My mom can hurt.
She's your Achilles heel.
Yeah, she's the one. And even her, it's like 50% of the time she can get me.
Yeah.
Like past 11 o'clock, I'm tired and she gets me like.
It's okay. Moms are, I feel like if that's the only acceptable person who should be able to get
like,
you.
And they know like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. So like, be honest. Tell me how you actually feel. Tell me what's going on in your mind. Like, I rather, like, that's a big thing for me. Honesty in terms of like, I can show up honestly as myself and you can show up honestly as yourself. And then goals. Like, no one around me is like not doing some sort of physical activity. Like, there's no excuse. In my mind, there's no excuse. You have all the time in the world. Like, do you want to be a fat fuck when you're like 45, 50? You can't even pick up your kids. Like, or you want to live like a healthy life towards when you're 80. You know, like that is a good natural filter. You know, there's not a lot of people around me that are drinking every day, smoking, doing all this shit. Like, because of those filters that I have, like you have to have goals. You have to have, you know, some sort of athletic endeavor or some, like even working out, even walking is, I consider that, you know, some sort of athletic thing that you're doing. And then honesty, like those three things.
Yeah. And I think those things also bring along with themselves certain other characteristics. Like somebody who values their health, I think on average would be someone who is more like disciplined.
Right.
And somebody who is disciplined, I think in my opinion, makes a more loyal friend. So I think I agree with you that those are like good filters. One thing that I would add that I learned very late into my life and that I try to I have little cousins, and I always try to get them to kind of like understand that, which is at any given point in your life, you know the saying that's like, oh, some people speak, if you speak to the king in someone, you'll see the king in them. If you speak to the fool in someone, you will see the fool in them.
Yes.
Your friends should always speak to the king in you. Your friends should always reflect back to you the best version of you. Your friends should always be reminding you like of who it is that you're trying to be.
Right.
You know,
That's a good
so
one.
holding you to a higher standard because they see the king in you. And even when you lose that for a moment or you get sidetracked, they can remind you of who that is again.
Right.
Because I've also met a lot of friends that know a certain version of their friend. And then now that their friend is trying to change and become a different person, they keep reminding them, no, but you were this way. It's like, who gives a fuck? Now they're saying they don't want to be that way anymore, so help them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stop reminding them of what they used to be and start reminding them of what it is that they want to be and they can be.
That's such a good one.
You know? I think that's a really important one too. So if you combine my one with his two, deadly combination, most amazing
I think
friends.
that's a really good one. Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, about your coaching.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit. I want to know, did I disconnect anything? No, I
I
didn't.
don't think so. Something.
I want to know some of your coaching philosophies. Like, what is your approach to coaching?
I think part of it is like what you said, is speak to the king in them. Like kids, I don't think there are any bad kids. You know, maybe like 0.5% are just evil. I haven't met any yet. There are no bad kids, just bad parents. And also like talk to them as if they're adults. Like I remember when I was 15, 16, I was worse than any kid I've ever seen. So like nothing they do is gonna make me upset. Like, you know, you can swear at me, you can call me whatever. Like you're not gonna hurt my feelings. And talk to them as if they're adults. Like they're gonna be adults very soon. And I find especially with young girls, like be very clear about what it is that you expect, and they can't do it. Like everything I do in coaching, I don't ask you to do something I'm not doing. Right? I would be a fraud.
Yeah.
So like I try to preach things that I'm actively doing, or, you know, I let them see like I'm a human being. I still have problems of my own. And I try to talk to them as if they're adults, because these parents that baby their kids all the time, you're over coddling them. It's going to be a harder time on you at the end when they have to go to university.
Yeah.
And you talk to someone as an adult, they like respond.
They rise to the occasion too. And that's how you build their confidence, I feel like, too.
Absolutely. And like kids, you know, anyone over the age of 25, I feel like they're harder to change. But you go to a kid and say, hey, you are where you are in your life because of your choices, not because of your parents, not because of your coach. They're not the one forcing you to do, you know, like to wake up late, not work hard. And they go, oh, damn, yeah, you're right. But you tell an adult, they're like, no, my mother in 2,000 years ago, she did this to, like, you know, they just start making excuses.
Yeah.
And
I love how you got like a Persian accent.
I had to, It's natural. Like, they start making excuses. Like, you know, oh no, my dad 10 years ago did this to me, and that's why I'm like this with my kid, and that's why I'm like, they just make excuses. Like, with kids, you tell them straight up, be honest, not emotional. Again, you cannot come off like, hey, why are you doing that? And just snap on them. Like, it has to be like, emotionless. Hey, you're not ready to play right now. Go sit down. It's all good. This is not good enough. Like, we're not doing this. I'm not here to do this. I'm not going to baby you. I'm not going to be like, oh, Samantha, why are you not? Do you want me to hold your hand for you? Like, no. You're an adult soon, very soon, and I'm going to treat you like that. And then they start to act like that. So, like, you baby them, obviously they're going to be babies. No shit. Like, what do you expect?
I feel like you're such a sicko as a coach, because now that I'm getting to know you a little bit, I'm like, okay, now I understand.
I'm not easy.
No, I get that, but it's like you have a very like well-balanced approach.
Thank
I'm
you.
not just talking, obviously now that you're talking about it, it clearly translates to your coaching too.
Right.
But just having so much depth and understanding as a human being, but being able to understand that like you still need to, like I have this theory, okay? And this is my theory that I always talk to. I love theories.
Okay.
And I make them in my head, and I apply them to different things in life, and it's really nice. It's
nice.
Fun. It's a fun time.
That's the best place to make theories.
I have a theory that like you need to build, like at the same time, like if you consider your life as being like an architectural thing that you want to build.
Okay.
You need to build height. you need to build width and you need to build depth at the same time. If you go too deep as a human being and you are starting to over rationalize things, and we've all been there because you get depressed or because you're going through hard things in your life and now you're trying to like reason with your emotions too much and you go too deep, that's how you get like dig yourself more into your depression.
Right.
If you go too high, which is like you're building your career, you're building success, you're making money, you're whatever, without any of the other things, you are very out of touch with reality. You get very anxious as a human being because you don't know anything other than what's at the top of whatever you've built, right? Yeah. And if you and width for me just comes down to experiences. Those are the vacations you take. Those are the friends that you make. Those are the things that you do just because you want to experience them. And if you just do that alone and you have no depth or height, then it's just you're lost.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that as a human being, you should focus on building all of those things at the same time. You want to build your depth at the same time that you experience new things, at the same time as you're building height.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, and I really like that about you so far through everything we've been talking about. You're a very well-balanced person. There's a lot of depth to you, but you manage that as well with your height and the things that you achieve. And you still have a very well-balanced palette for like your social range. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. Before we get off the podcast, I want to talk to you about something that you want to talk to me about.
It's a good question. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I'm just going to answer.
I'll make it fast.
No, it's okay. I want to think about it and give a good answer. Do you ever like leave here and then think like, damn, I should have said this or that, and then you're like disappointed?
Like the podcast
crew? Like, damn, I should have said something.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. You know what it is? I have a hard time because it's inside out. A very interesting thing actually happened to me. I had a guest on a little while ago, and after she left, I had an epiphany. And my epiphany was that I grew up in a Persian family that always told me, like, don't say this, don't do that. Very much like we have to look good to the outside world, but inside we're fucked.
Yeah.
So it was that, and it was I grew up with the idea of as long as I look fine, and as long as to the outside world I'm doing good, I'm okay.
Right.
And obviously that only goes for so long before you realize that you're miserable on the inside, and that's not true.
Yeah.
And when I got to that point, I realized it was like I was crippled. Like it was impossible for me to be myself.
Right.
Like I was like 13 different people at the same time, and all of them were a little bit me, but not like me at all.
Right.
And it was just this whole mess. So then that day when I had my guests over, I had an epiphany that, one of the reasons I like this is because when my guests come on and are vulnerable, I'm speaking through them. Because I pick guests that resonate with me.
Right.
And when they come here and they're vulnerable, I'm like, I learned something from them. I'm like, that's how I feel. And then I feel relieved.
Right.
And I feel like inspired to also say how I feel.
You like learn through them sharing.
Yeah, for sure. But in doing that, I've made it a priority for me to always make this a safe space for my guests. I always make it known to my guests that, like, this is not a setup. I'm not going to clip the most conventional part of the podcast because it'll get more views. And trust me, I've had the opportunity to do that many, many times. And the people who edit for me will ask me, be like, this is really controversial and trendy right now. Should I clip this? And I'm like, no. Because I collaborate with these guests on it, and I don't want that to be what encompasses your whole episode, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes that comes at an expense. And that expense is that I don't get to fully be myself because I kind of have to give space to my guests. So there's been times where I've wanted to disagree with my guests, but I was like, I want them to just use this as an opportunity to be themselves, and maybe if I have them on a second time, then I'll tear them a new one.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of,
Yeah. And I think I wanted to kind of shout out the Team Canada staff.
Yes, please do.
They're always helping me. The physios are always there for me, the head coach. Also, I'm here and I coach for a club called Thundercats Volleyball.
Oh yeah. What is Thundercats?
They're a local volleyball club. We run programming for 11 till 18U, and there's like traveling teams.
Oh, that's
that
dope.
play and compete, as well as like grassroots programs. They've been pivotal.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not one of those people. You're good.
Like my journey, big financial supporter, and the director Tien has been a part of my life, like a second kind of father, helped me a lot throughout my life. And yeah, like if anyone, has anything that they saw and it resonated with them and they keep it, or they want to ask me questions and stuff, like...
Wait, that's my...
is that the next thing? Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Time out.
Anyways, all of those people that you shouted out, honestly, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, now that I've had the pleasure of meeting you, shout out to all those people. Obviously, you've had very good mentors in your life.
And my girlfriend.
Shout out girlfriend. What's her name?
Alyssa.
Hi, shout out Alyssa.
Yeah, she's amazing too. She helps me. Like, I couldn't do a lot of this stuff. We're in a 6-year relationship, and I'm only 25. Like, it's very rare, and traveling the world, competing, not being able to see each other all the time and stuff like that, she understands it and reduces the stress in my life.
Aww.
If I had a girlfriend that didn't understand what I'm doing and didn't understand, like, I don't see you for 4 days, 5 days, 6, like maybe more, it would be tough.
She's that giver that you were talking about, that you finally give to and realize what it's like to give
back,
to a giver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it. When you said it, I was like, this is personal. This is about someone in particular. But shout out Alyssa. Shout out to all of the mentors that you named. Shout out Thundercats. Shout out Team Canada, because honestly, like, this has been such a pleasure for me. I don't know if people can feel it through the screen, but you emanate amazing, dope, fucking positive energy.
Thank you.
And I'm very blessed to have met you. And thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
As for people watching this podcast, I try not to talk too much about the things that people do on my podcast, more so who they are.
Right.
This was a very well-balanced podcast, in my opinion. I genuinely wanted answers to some of the questions I asked you. It came from a place of curiosity and not a place of what I thought people would want to hear.
Right.
So I thought it was very well balanced. I'm very happy about it. If people are watching and they resonate with any part of this episode, whether it be the athletic portion of it, whether it be to get involved in any of the initiatives or things that Rouzbeh talked about, or whether it's just for personal reasons where you found certain truths in what we were saying or want to know more, I'm going to put Rouzbeh's Instagram right here. Can you see it? It's right here. And feel free to follow him. And do you have any words for the audience before we say bye?
Yeah, no, I did this in part to learn from you as well. And I took away some things from the things that you said that I think were awesome. But also to share and not gatekeep, kind of information. And if even one person watches this, a kid watches this and is they resonated with some of what I said, and they feel like, they want more answers, or they have questions and stuff, you can message me on my Instagram or reach out through email. I also do mentorship and strategy calls with young athletes.
Oh, that's dope.
And we just talk. It's not even necessarily volleyball related.
Yeah.
Although they all do play volleyball, the athletes that I have, you can message me. If I don't answer right away, I will get back to you. I do all my messages personally. So yeah,
you're welcome, guys, by the way. Yeah. You guys are welcome. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Anyways, but yeah, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to follow Rouzbeh. And also, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of the things that is very known about my podcast is that people are more than welcome to come back. In fact, I want my guests to come back after a little while has gone by and maybe they have different things to share. So you are always welcome back on the podcast. Never.
No, I'm kidding.
We actually duked it out.
That was great. No, that was
filming.
Awesome. I love that. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. And thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.